Hi, this video I want to do an intro to give you an idea of what's in this video because it is completely out of the normal for me. This is more of a vlog-based content, so if those things don't interest you, then maybe wait for the next video. This is going to be about art. One of my dear friends asked me if I would share my art with her, and I have a video that I put together where I kind of walk through my art book. And understand, it is not all of my art, it is some of it that I decided to go ahead and share, not just with her, but with all of you guys. I decide this hesitantly. I know she'll be nice because she's a real sweetheart, and you know who you are. But the rest of you, hopefully y'all ain't too mean. It is something that when I very first shared my art a couple years ago, I shared on Facebook with some people, and I found a certain therapeutic way in doing that. It helped me to somehow enjoy my art more. I'm not sure why. I don't understand that, but it did. I felt like I could breathe, and maybe it wasn't so bad. I think probably because I can be a hard critic on my, the things I draw and paint and whatnot. I think every artist is that way, though. But it felt good to put it out there and have other people, make comments and stuff on it. Obviously, I don't hope for mean comments, but just realize I'm not looking for critiques or even compliments or whatever. I'm just sharing my heart. Sharing something that I like to do. My friend had asked me, what do I like to do in my spare time? Photography is one of them, but art is one of them as well, and they go together because a lot of times now I base my art on a picture that I may have taken. That way then there's no copyright fear at all. But I like to do that. This photo and my beautiful birds, when I put that camera in my hands, there's something that just relaxing or something that happens, and it's like it activates a different spot in my brain or something because I'm focusing in on the light and the position and the composition of everything and just watching God's beautiful creation and trying to capture some of the beauty in that. And it's the same with art, whether you're doing it with the camera or whether you're doing it with canvas. It's the same thing, and I love doing both. I have to feel very, very relaxed to do my art. If I'm feeling tense, or if I've got things on my plate that need done, if I know I've got a sink full of dishes or something that I gotta get done, I just can't really relax to do that. So I tend not to. I try to get the stuff done, but occasionally I'll take a day, sit down and maybe go all barefoot and just enjoy open window, fresh air, and just sit down and paint or use colored pencils or draw. I started off mostly just doing black and white charcoal or graphite, and then back a couple years ago when I first shared my stuff is about the time I started adding color. And I have been trying to find my happy place, or the medium of choice, for an art term there. I'm still working on that. I found ones that sorry, I've got like hair in my eyes, and it's been a long day, and I know I look fuzzy. Anyway, I've done a little work trying to figure out what do I like, what do I enjoy working with. There's some things that I have fun working with, like pastels. I kind of like the crazy madwoman feel, and it's like all over my hands, and I'm working on it. But there's also things I hate. I so far really hate acrylic paint. Not the biggest fan of oil, but I'm trying to learn to like it because I would like to be able to do oils better. I have done some practice with it and plan to do more. Oh, this hair is going to make me insane. Anyway, the next video I'm going to cut in is where I sit down and I go through my art book, which I tried to put in some kind of semblance of order from pieces that my mama happened to keep from when I was little to all the way to later when I started working. Some of them are terrible, and I mean like terrible, and I had a bad habit through the years of using cheap supplies on paper that wasn't really appropriate and such for the type of thing I was using. But everything is a learning experience with art, and you grow and you play and you go on from there. There's definitely more pieces that I have that you will not see. I've got another sketchbook that I had done tried to do a sketch a day, and then 2020 hit, and that kind of put a damper on my mood to do art, so that kind of stopped for a while. I may pick up that again with a little sketch a day thing, but we'll see. Time will tell. But I've had other things and pieces that you won't really see. There's some pieces that I've given away that people have asked for. And people have offered to buy a couple pieces, so I kind of think they're a little bit crazy. Why would you want to buy that yet? It's just not that good yet. But maybe in time, maybe we'll get there. So, who knows, maybe one day I'll put some stuff out there on the Etsy store. I've already got photography out there, though it's not getting nearly as much interest as the head coverings are, but that's okay. It is still something I love to do, photography and art. So just wanted to share those pieces of me and enjoy them if you are interested in these things. If not, we'll catch you in the next video. Have a great one. So I'm going to share some of my art. No laughing. And if you're looking at this right now, you probably already are laughing. These first few pages are actually from when I was really little. That's actually folded in half. You can't see it good, and I'm not going to bother unfolding it, but it was on a paint palette page that my dad had an old paint palette of one of the paper palettes, and as a kid I grabbed his oil pastels and drew on it. That was in marker when I was young. I was trying to draw my grandma's house. I was probably like 7 years old when I did that there too. But literally I tried to organize this book in order to see a sort of progression. I sketched this, looks like in 1999 when I was trying again to draw my grandma's house, and I did not have it at all right. I didn't even have the orientation of the roof right at the time because I was trying to sketch from memory, which I still can't do that very good. This was a dog we had, and I just did a little loose sketch of him lying on the floor. Wasn't really happy with that. That was experimenting with the oil pastels again. Hi, Laura. This is a little sketch I did of a little ceramic cross that I used to have. And by this point, that was about 2004. A model plane of my husband's that I tried to do and wasn't really happy with. The shape didn't come out right. It's stubby of sort. It doesn't look right at all. But, you know, again, trying to draw something that's three-dimensional and make it two-dimensional is not my forte. That is a picture of a child of a friend that I did, and these here, this was my husband from a long time ago. He don't even look like that now. But faces are something I don't do well, even now to this day. This I tried to take a weird concept. I put a picture of my grandfather on my mom's side and my grandmother on my mom's side. She actually passed away before I was born, but I took two different pictures of them and tried to put them together. And it kind of doesn't really work because in this one he was an older man and she was, you know, still quite a bit younger, so it wasn't really good forethought when I did that. That is me trying to experiment with charcoal and just trying to show a dark emotional scene that I'd seen in a movie, that When Love Comes Softly movie, when the woman is mourning her husband. I just paused the screen one day and kind of did some loose sketching on that. Don't know why, it just struck me. This was trying to do a picture. I think I had seen a very similar one online, and I just, you know, for learning purposes, tried to see if I could replicate that. It came out okay, I guess. Kind of similar with that. I was just trying to do some random sketches. These are back when I first started trying watercolor. Let's get that out of here. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. I don't even remember what's in here. Oh. Yeah, those are old watercolors that I tried to do. I have a weird thing with watercolor, and I still struggle with it today, that when I do it, I almost treat the watercolors like oil, and it's not really correct per se. Shine's kind of stopping that one from showing through.
But it's not really per se, but it's just the way I tend to do it. I think I've watched one too many Bob Ross videos. That was a watercolor that I had. This was actually oil. The first time I ever tried using oil, but I did a very improper thing and used it just on like regular paper, and it was horrible. I hated it. At that time, I swore off of using oil ever again. I did not like how it worked. But part of that didn't help that I wasn't even using the right paper for it. Kind of same thing. I was experimenting there. I think I was using acrylic or something. Hated that. More charcoal play. And that was a copy of a scene from a beach from Charleston, South Carolina, from when my husband and I visited a long time ago. That was just really, really cheapo colored pencils that I quick sketched one day. A house that we used to have back in Chillicothe, I tried to envision what it would have looked like back when it was built in 1907. There have been a lot of changes since then, and I was just trying to figure that out, what I thought it might have looked like. Well, never was really sure. That was kind of another goof. Tried really cheapo watercolors, like, you know, the kitty kind, on copy paper, and it just came out horribly. The texture's awful. Yeah, I know, I'm pointing out the flaws, that's what I do. I remember that was colored pencil, but I don't remember which kind I used. It really wasn't good paper for it either. The picture is from a photograph I took back when we visited the Ohio History Museum, and there's an area called Ohio Village, and there was this really old-fashioned kitchen. And I had taken that photograph, and then I tried sketching it, and I found like these perspective lines on the floor just a bear to deal with. Could probably do better at that now, but I don't know. There's some chickadee, a chickadee, black-capped, and a little, actually no, I'm sorry, that was a Carolina, and eastern bluebird, from pictures taken from the internet. Those were not from photos that I had done. That was actually back before I even got into birding very much. Same with this for yellow warbler. I'm just working with, at the time I bought my first set of Prismacolor colored pencils. And I was trying to learn how to work with those and get them to blend and things like that. Wasn't a super big fan of those. There's just a sketch of a forest scene that I was trying to do. I'm trying to figure out how to get more depth and show the depth of a bank and stuff like that. I was experimenting, trying to learn, figure it out. This I tried with, I think it was pastels I used in that, of an orchid that I had at the time, one of the blue ice orchids. I absolutely hated how that came out. But again, I was drawing from the 3D Life flower instead of like a flat picture. I just did not like that. That is inspired from a photograph I took at Yaktangi Park in Chillicothe, Ohio. I like the photograph a lot better than I like the sketch, but it is what it is. This was from a photograph a friend had taken. I don't even remember where she said she took that, but it was of a waterfall. It did not come out right at all. I know, again, critic here, but I think everybody critiques their own work. This was from an art book on sketching, and I just copied one of the exercise pages. But I actually liked it okay. It was a simplistic drawing though, so that I think again was like cheap paint, experimenting. It took me a long time to start investing in better quality art supplies. An exercise from an art book, or might have been an art printout that I had gotten off the internet. Same for the little chipmunk. That was from some sort of photograph I think a cousin had posted. And I think I just drew this one out of my head if memory serves. This is from an art sketchbook. And the next one is a lot more deeply personal. This is from a photograph I took when my daddy was dying. I sketched that with my mama leaning over and taking care of him. It didn't come out how I wanted. I will probably redo some of these eventually. The next 2 or 3 are like that. It was just a sad time, but I just felt compelled to sketch them. That was my first attempt of a scene of my mama leaning over and kissing my daddy. And that was my second attempt. It does not look right. It does not really look like them to me from the photo that I had taken. But, like, I know my mom's face especially just does not look right. Dad's didn't look right. Didn't look like him anyway because, you know, his body was in the process of shutting down. But it was a precious scene. And I just felt compelled to sketch it and felt deeply compelled to do it in black and white because it felt like everything in that moment was in black and white. That's my dad. Sorry. That's my daddy's hand. I took a photo of it as I was holding it. My dad didn't have his fingers entirely. He had been naughty in his youth and been messing with M80 firecrackers and shouldn't have been. Anyway, one of the firecrackers blew up in his hand and he lost his fingertips in that. It was, I think, when I was probably a baby or something that happened. But his hand had so much character. And what struck me wasn't the firecracker damage or anything like that, the little tips of the fingernails he had. It was just how much work and wear and tear was in those hands from all those years of providing and taking care of us. This was just a sketch from an art book. My dad had actually drawn the exact same thing, and I have that somewhere in my art stuff, my art supplies that he had been sketching. He liked to sketch and paint and draw a little bit too, and I tried to do that same exercise. Though I just did that in graphite, I didn't do it in charcoal like Dad had done. That was the first eye I ever tried to do from an internet exercise. This is a sketch. So I had to do a break in the video there, but this was from an internet exercise sketchbook type thing that I tried to duplicate all in graphite. And in this one I actually had gone to mechanical pencils so I could have that really, really fine, tiny point and get a little bit better detail. I actually liked how it came out. I didn't like the tree, but I liked the well really well. A covered bridge and a kitten. Both of those are again from an art book of instructional stuff. That was experimenting with paint, I think. I experimented with acrylic on that. Again, did not like that. It's not the outcome, it's just how the paint built. Hi, Cheesy. That was a graphite sketch of some planes from a picture on the internet. I just decided to try and sketch, especially since Hubby likes planes and history so well. This is when I went into my pumpkin phase, or the start of it. I started really enjoying trying to paint pumpkins, and I kept trying different mediums. I tried soft pastels, I tried watercolor, I tried I think I tried an acrylic one and various things. This particular one I think was mixed media. When I did that it was mostly watercolor, but I've gotten to where a lot of times if I use watercolor I may also do some, you know, soft pastel or colored pencil work in them, so I tend to mix my media now. That was a Blue Jay. That one was Prismacolor colored pencils. That is from a photo that I took. This was a custom request from my husband. He said he wanted to see me draw a blue jay and a chickadee cuddling. And I took 2 photos that I had taken and combined them and tried to do that in colored pencil. Didn't really come out good because trying to get the exact scale was really hard. But it does make me laugh. Another blue jay. You will see lots of blue jays. That was me trying to use alcohol markers on alcohol marker paper. Don't really love the medium, but it came out alright, I guess. That was just a quick watercolor that I had done from a YouTube tutorial. a watercolor of a northern cardinal, which looks entirely too chubby, tall, and not the right shape, but you know, it made me laugh. This was alcohol marker again. I think I might have used a little bit of a paint marker or something in there too, but didn't love that. Roses vex me. Roses are my favorite flower. It's my middle name, but I'm not very good at drawing them. This sketch was from an art book, but it was like a graphite black and white sketch, and then I took it and then I first sketched it and then I watercolored it in. So it's a combo of sketch and watercolor. And TZ is really interested in everything here. That was a watercolor. That is one of the few roses I have actually liked, though I didn't like how I put the orientation of the stem. It really bothers my OCD side. It doesn't look right. That is a watercolor. The sketch itself was partly from a sketchbook, but again, I decided to tweak it. That was me trying to sketch and paint from live. I just took an apple, looked at it, and tried to replicate what I saw from that 3 dimension and made it into the 2. I still find that difficult. That's a pen, like an ink pen, and line drawing, and then filled in with watercolor. Another cardinal attempt, and just some I was trying to do loose watercolor, which I struggle with greatly. Another attempt at a cardinal. I don't think I used my photo with that. It seems like I used one off the net, but I'm not sure. That's one problem I have, is sometimes I'm not sure whether I've used my own photos to base these. I don't remember where I got that. I think that was from a YouTube tutorial. Again, trying to do loose watercolor. I struggle with the whole loose thing. I based this off of a friend's picture from her farm. Also watercolor, and for the most part I like how that came out. Chickadee, based off of one of my photos, which I changed the background of the photo or from the photo and everything. I don't love the shape of the chickadee in here, but it was practice. Not from my photo, but from a net picture of a blue jay. This is my friend Angie, her farm. She had taken a picture of her barn one day. She lives in Alabama and it rarely snows there, and one day that they had the snow, and she posted the picture of her pretty red barn in that snow, and I'm just like, oh Angie, I have to paint that. So I gave it my best. I would like to try to redo that again one day, when skill improves more. Again, another attempt of my grandma's house from the farm that I had grown up on. This time I have the orientation of the house a whole lot better. Unfortunately, I don't have a good solid picture to base my sketch off of, so I'm working by memory. That's why I keep trying to redo that. It's one of those things that vex me that I want to keep trying to improve on. This is actually me trying to branch into oil again. I actually have a board that I have it on, and I tried several oils here. I'm kind of happy with this. There's lots of room for improvement, but I still find oil vexing to work with. It's just a lot harder than watercolor to me. These are all oil attempts. I think this was my first oil attempt. I think this here was number 2. I don't really dig it. I do like this one. This was based off of a photo I took. Well, I like how that one came out. This was a very, very recent one. I took one of my photos and I did a pen and ink, and then I filled it in with alcohol marker and then blended it with solvent to try to get a real bold color. I was just mostly experimenting with the medium of the alcohol marker. Same exact photo based this one. This is just a watercolor blue jay off of one of my favorite photos, though I did alter what the blue jay was standing on. In the actual photo he was standing on a feeding pan, but that's the beauty of art. You can take it and flip it, and I just made it a slight snowy branch. But I actually like this one. It's one of my favorite paintings that I've done, and is one of the most recent. And then back there is just some old stuff that I wasn't really very happy with. And that was another pumpkin. Stuff that I've disliked so much I've just almost thrown it away. But there is my art. I hope it's not too crazy looking.